All right, what is up? We are live, and how's everybody doing? I have some great news. So last stream we were talking about this, my phone service. Yes, I switched to a new one, and it's actually a pretty great deal. And people might be like, "Oh, it's too good to be true." Like, please don't use it. Go direct. Well, so Straight Talk. Well, they make you pay $45 a month, but then their advertisement they just say unlimited, and they don't tell you which one it is. But there's a new one called Red Pocket. It lets you pay $10 a month for 1 gig of 5G and then unlimited 4G speeds, which 4G is really not bad and it's usable. So yeah, and you can choose the network you want to use: AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon. It's a really great deal. I recommend everybody try it out. And I'm using an eSIM. And earlier, our Wi-Fi went out, and I used cellular, and it was great. So yeah, I get pretty good speeds, just like if I was actually using an AT&T directly. Like it gives you the network, and it's great. However, my parents are gonna switch to it in like a month or two, and their phones don't support eSIM, so they have to actually have a SIM shipped to us. They have the Moto G Stylus 5G that came out in like 2021. Yeah, I don't know why that phone doesn't support eSIM. Maybe it physically can do it, but the software they just didn't add it or something. Because the iPhone from 2017, the oldest, can do it. So I mean, I really feel bad for Android because the my dad says 2 years is when a phone gets old. I'm like, iPhone world, you can still have an iPhone 11 and be fine, or an iPhone 8 even. It's just really weird. Now the lack of software support with Android is not as bad as if iOS. I'm so glad iOS supports longer, but the Android it doesn't really matter because you can still get the latest app updates and the latest TalkBack. Oh yeah, so if you use TalkBack, you can still get the latest features with an old version of Android because it's an app, so it's upgradable. That's what I like. But if you lose support on iOS, you still get app updates, then you don't. It really depends on the developer and how they want to do it. So yeah, that's how it basically is. But Android is great. Like my Samsung tablet, Android 11, still its latest apps. Like Android 8 devices, Braille Touch Plus, still latest app versions. Now the only Android version that will lack the latest app support will be 32-bit versions. Maybe not lack it, but it might not be able to run it. So, hey Google, what was the first 64-bit version of Android?
Android 5.0 Lollipop. On the website anywhere.epam.com, they say, as mentioned earlier, Android 5.0 Lollipop was the first fully 64-bit compatible version of Android, launched in 2014.
Yes. So if you still had the 32-bit version of Android 5 or Android 4 or 5, no, Android 5, the Braille Touch original, yeah, that thing might not have been able to run the latest apps just because of how might have been the 32-bit version of Android 5. But then if you had the 64-bit version, you can still get the latest apps. It's crazy. And mostly, I feel like mostly everybody uses 64-bit now. Like the last 32-bit version of iOS was iOS 10, the A6 chip. So yeah, everything uses 64-bit. Windows doesn't even do 32 anymore. Android doesn't. Apple doesn't. Like nobody does. Mac, like, so yeah. If you had I really feel bad for people that had old Androids that were 32-bit based because then you really couldn't get the latest apps sometimes, and it was pain. But I guess it doesn't matter if you're 64-bit now, and that's what everybody pretty much uses. I honestly hate Braille displays. Well, I don't really hate them; they're cool, but they crash. The Brillo, or not the Brillo, the BrillSense 6 and the BrillSense Polaris, which BrillSense Polaris was more understandable because it was Android 5.1 and 32-bit version, and it was old. And then it would crash, but the new one still crashes from getting lots of notification, while a tablet with 2 gigs of RAM doesn't. Wow. Yeah, that's just stupid. No, it crashes easily. Now, I don't have a Brillo Touch Plus, but I know that thing doesn't crash. So I've heard people get lots of notifications. It's like an Android tablet. It's like my Samsung tablet with 4 gigs of RAM. So, yeah, I don't know why no one's watching. No, normally someone does watch. Don't know what's happening today. Uh, I still really like how Apple never upgrades the mics because they're already good enough. And it's cool because, like, okay, so people complain, they're like, oh, we don't have the newest camera. Oh my gosh. But then I could be on an iPhone 10R, which, or 11, or SE, second gen in my case, and the newest iPhone 14 mics sound the same as the SE second gen because they're already good enough, and Apple probably tested them and had a real audio person look at them or something because what they do with the camera, and they're good enough. And they are good enough, so they sound the same, and I like. That's what I like. I honestly don't like speed comparisons between devices. Now, if it's like an iPhone 14 to an iPhone 8, sure, but I don't be like the iPhone 14 versus the iPhone 13 versus the iPhone 12 versus the iPhone 11 battery speed. Like it's like, dude, it's just an iPhone. You're gonna get similar performance on all devices nowadays. It's gonna run great, except maybe the SE second gen might have worse battery life, but obviously it's a smaller device. Like I don't know. I don't really like. I don't like. I don't really like some tech YouTubers. Like I like tech YouTubers, but then I don't, because they're also not average users. They're tech users. So then sometimes they don't know how to put themselves. It's funny. They're like, for an average person, this would be great, but I still would recommend. It's like, yeah, you can't put yourself in a average person's shoes. Apparently, it's like it's hard for them to do that. And then I guess I like technology. I'm a tech person. I'm just more average. And I don't really care if I have an iPhone SE second gen. Like it's great. It's a great phone. I just hate when people are like, "Oh, the iPhone SE third gen is like it's fine." I honestly hate tech YouTubers who bash phones. Like there's nothing wrong with them. It's like they're like someone was like talking about how the iPhone 12 is a battery issue and Apple never addressed it, and this was 2 years ago. And someone went and talked about it. Now I'm like, dude, this is 2 years ago. Like we know it happened, but yeah. Let's focus on what Apple's being stupid about now instead of a while ago. Like, I don't like the way tech YouTubers try to put themselves in an average person's shoes. It's so funny. They can't do it because they're a tech person and they want the latest stuff. So yeah, it is yeah, it is funny though seeing Apple YouTubers and stuff. It's like, dude, they're just phones. Like I probably wouldn't. Maybe yeah. Like if you compare, let's say you compare an iPhone 7 to an iPhone SE second gen or an iPod Touch 7, because that was iPhone 7 iPod Touch. same chips. So, anyway, yes, my iPod all that thing was usable. It was great like years ago, and then it started slowing down. Where it's usable, it's just you could notice the performance like lowered, but it wasn't a big deal. The device is still usable, and I didn't complain about it. I was like, oh my god, this thing is so slow. Because it's still optimized, it still works. No, this iPhone, definitely faster, and I'm enjoying it. I just don't like how tech YouTubers are just. Yeah, they can't be an average person. It's. Tech YouTubers cannot be average people. They unless they know how to. Like me, I can be a tech person and still be like, you know what? It's still a great phone, whatever. If you want the extra cameras, buy the iPhone 13 mini over the SE. If you don't really care, go with either one. None of them are bad. Like, that's really what I'd have to say. And stuff like that. It's honestly stupid. I don't know. I don't really like some people's approaches and stuff. But yeah, I'm talking. Wait, you know, okay. But yeah, just tech YouTubers. Some of them just the speed comparisons don't really matter. It like really doesn't. Like yeah, the 13 is gonna be faster than the 11, but I think we all know that. Why do we need to hear a speed comparison? Like the iPhone 11 still give you great performance. It or the 14 to the 12, 14 to the iPhone 8. Yeah, there's going to be a bigger difference, but the 8 is not slow either, and it's not. I don't know these people with the speed comparisons. It's great to see that it's faster, but we all know it's going to be faster. I mean, I am not going to notice the difference if I picked up an iPhone SE third gen and SE second gen. Yeah, maybe I know like a slight difference. Like I don't know. I probably wouldn't really tell because they're both really good phones. The iPhone SE, well, if you upgrade from an SE2 to a 3, it's going from an iPhone 11 to a 13. iPhones don't get old that quickly, like Android. Even though Android, like Android is different. You can't compare. You really actually can't compare software support on Android to iOS. Even though it's more lower than iOS, you still get the latest app updates. It's different. Android's different. Yeah, it's really just stupid. I don't like tech YouTubers that don't know how to be average people. Now Zolotech, he's the best tech YouTuber, cause yeah, he doesn't really do speed comparisons. Like, well, he does, but he doesn't because he'll be like iPhone SE second gen versus third gen versus 11, and he'll go over everything. Or like 13 versus iPhone 13 versus iPhone 11. I guess not even versus. So like, which one should you choose? And then he'll say, if you're this person, you choose it. Like it's he's more closer to average than some people. Now he does use the latest phone every time, so maybe that's a techie type thing. But other than that, he doesn't. He like, oh, I guess don't buy the iPhone SE third gen. It's like it's a great phone. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna end it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you in another video or stream. More people join.